Welcome to the Supergirl panel at HomeCon 2020. I'm Lauren Moore. I'll be your moderator for this panel. And we have an awesome group of badass ladies here today. First up, of course, we have Azie, who plays Kelly Olsen. How you doing?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We have Julie Gonzalo, who plays Andrea Rojas. How are ya? And then we have Andrea Brooks, who plays Eve Tessmacher. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
And of course, we have Nicole Maines, who plays Mia Nall. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing great. I got snacks. Best quarantine life. Let's
the essentials. The essentials.
Snack queen.
How is everybody doing, by the way? I know we're all at home, we're quarantining, we're doing our social distancing. How are y'all doing? How y'all hanging in there?
Oh man, I mean, I think we're all doing as well as we can be. I know all of us have been in touch quite a bit. We're trying to stay as social as possible, despite being locked in. And we're all just, I think, trying to do our part and trying to flatten the curve and stay safe. So doing our best.
You're discovering so many other things about your life. They're like, oh, I guess I do have time for that.
Are there any little like hobbies? You're catching up on a lot of shows right now?
Oh yeah. I broke down, got Disney Plus. That's been my life.
I have Disney Plus too. Have you done Mandalorian yet? I never asked you.
It was the first thing I did.
Okay, I did ask you.
Here's my take. If they're going to send us to yet another desert planet, I feel personally entitled to a Jawa movie.
Well, fair. All I care about is Baby Yoda. That's all I was there for, really.
That's pretty good.
That's awesome. I'm glad you all are like hanging out and getting caught up. The cool thing about this is that I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat saying it's their very first con ever, which is so cool because not everybody can travel or get a badge. But this
My first con.
This is your first con?
I've never done anything. Yeah.
Julie, I've been in every movie ever. Gonzalo.
Yeah, I know. I'm not very social. I'm very shy. I've turned it down a couple that sounds awful, but sometimes my nerves get the best of me and I say no to things.
That's human. That's totally human. Sure.
Yeah, but this is great.
I'm very glad. How cool. This is her first con and everybody here watching gets to see it. We've got like 1,300 people watching from all over the world.
Yay.
Drop what country you're watching. No, you're fine. It's fine. Everyone is super supportive, like loving this right now. I would love for people to drop whatever country they're watching from because this has really been very cool. I'm seeing Ireland right now, Australia, Italy. It's zooming past Greece, USA, UK, Germany, France. This is awesome. So thank you all for being here and thanks for giving your time. I wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about the season right now, which is the content of this season has been timed kind of in a very interesting and weirdly relevant way in terms of the technology and the connection with just humanity and human interaction. How's that kind of been, especially right now?
Well, okay, I'll take it. I don't know.
We're a lot of Rojas of Obsidian over here.
Say what?
Oh, I said Andrea Rojas of Obsidian over here.
I mean, I might as well take it now.
You might as well.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I have a phone.
Do they want to join?
No, they don't. And now I don't know how to go back. Oh my God.
Get some lenses. They're really desperate.
You click on
the thing,
I think.
Oh my God.
Technology.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yay!
What was the question again?
Just how has it kind of been seeing the season unfold, especially right now where we're all very heavily relying on technology to have any sort of human interaction, and that's interestingly enough kind of aligns with what's happening in the season right now. Has it been kind of surreal at all?
I think so. I think there were a lot of similarities with like the real world and the show. I was kind of curious to know how the writers were doing it, as in like, are you guys seeing the future and like kind of writing very parallel worlds? So yeah, it was quite interesting in that sense.
Yeah,
I think
almost
they do
like,
it every season they have done something similar. In
or if,
storylines and kind of
Mhm.
what's happening in the real world. I can't imagine what season 6 is going to be like with everything that's happening here.
yeah, it's definitely crazy. So we've gotten a lot of questions from fans just over the weekend, even live now on Twitch. Questions are pouring in, but we have a question from a Power to Morgana on Twitter who said, "What is a quality of your character that you admire or wish you had?" I'm going to knock that one over to Azie first.
Oh, that's such a good question. I love my character so much. So she's, Kelly is so kind and so empathetic and can stand in the face of extreme like trauma and turmoil and keep such a level head. I think so many, last season with her brother, and this season with like relationship stuff, and then also just being thrown into this world of superheroes. She leads so much with her heart, and is always available for people. And I think last season we saw how it can, she can be taken advantage of in that way. But I've always loved that so much about her, and I admire so much in her that no matter how someone treats her or what's happening in her environment, she's like solid and loving and grounded and there for a lot of the characters, and is open to receiving that love. I think has been fun exploring with Alex and with Nia, and you see these other relationships that she's had. So she's just like who I want to be when I grow up. So.
Oh, that's
really
very cool. That's very cool. Andrea, what about you?
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry.
Eve
Which character, right? Which one?
Which Eve?
Yeah, that's very, we'll get there.
I love, this is random, but I love Eve's ability she's always quick changing. She's someone else. She's in a wig. She's in disguise. She's here. She's there. She's everywhere. And I just love I just love opening these scripts and being like, what you doing this week? Because it's always all over the place and it's insane. And I love that. It's just a life of adventure. And you never know who she's going to be, where she's going to be. I don't know. She'll just pop up. Where's Waldo? She's, doing things. I like it.
Yeah. Very Carmen Sandiego-esque.
A little bit. For sure.
What about you, Nicole?
I think Nia is, well, I mean, I'll be the first to say it, Homegirl's been through a lot for the past season and a half. And I think through it all, she has really kind of like Kelly, she has kept it moving. One thing happens, she punches it. She keeps it going. Yeah. And she's always willing to put other people before herself, and she is always willing to look out for the greater good, and kind of put her own issues aside. And I really admire that about her. She's just so caring, and she's so dedicated to truth and to justice and to doing the right thing. And I just really admire that about her, and I hope our homegirl gets to see some like good times ahead, because she's like batting like 0 for 50 right now. She needs to win.
Yeah.
Nia's like the icon we all needed. Nia and Dreamer.
Yeah. Very true.
And Nicole. Yeah.
What about you?
Me. Well, aside from teleporting,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good one. I feel like I would want that power.
Actually, yeah, that's a very good one.
If I could teleport to the 7-Eleven, it'd be
I mean, you can teleport anywhere.
Nicole's like 7-Eleven.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Those Fritos and cookie dough.
Giant slushy. Oh my god.
But aside from that, I'm kind of on the same boat with everyone by admiring. I think that I get to play a very strong character. I mean, she can come across like an asshole. Well, I don't know if I can curse, but like she comes.
I love that you cursed when you said you can't curse.
Learn the word anyway.
She's Andrea Rojas. She can do whatever she
Tell Kelly that all the time. I'm very aware.
But anyway, like it's that. It's like she's so powerful, like she's so strong and confident. And I think that there's a lot of moments that you know, like you want to be strong and confident, and you're not, and that's, I think that those are some of the qualities I would definitely would love to take away from that. But also I love playing that, because I'm not quite that person in real life, so it's nice to get to go to work and actually feel like you're the boss. And I don't at all in my real life, but at work it's been fun to just kind of show up with that energy and that confidence. But it's mostly teleporting, I'd say.
Yeah. That's very true, to kind of spend that time in that headspace. It's a really neat job that you guys have, and you all do it incredibly well. And I feel like the audience, like we definitely feed off that. Like there is so much confidence, there is so much positivity and resilience in these characters, and I think that as viewers we absolutely feel the effects of that as well. Here's a fun question from FranLux23. If you could take one thing from the set, what would it be? Why?
Oh, I have a question. Nicole, I think I saw this on Twitter. Do you have that little cat in Catco on
Yeah, and you're not getting it back.
that cat?
It's mine now.
Wait, you took it?
Well, when
I have it.
got fired / exited Catco, I guess she never gathered her things properly because Nia took over the desk.
I have.
I would take the cat. Hold on to it. I would take the cat.
I've slowly started accumulating things from around the Catco set and started
Really?
putting them on Nia's desk. I think she has a problem.
Having a desk is the best because you collect sides. Like I used to open the drawers and be like, oh, this is a script from last season. Like I would just leave things in all of my drawers.
I really like saying slowly accumulating things as opposed to stealing. That's gonna be my new phrasing. Thanks, Nicole.
Listen, it's not stealing if no one notices that it's gone.
If they don't notice it, they don't deserve it, right? This is why you and I are a bad combo, because we just enable each other's bad behavior.
Has anyone else eyed anything on the set that you're like, oh, that's a really cool prop or something, or a costume piece where you're like, man, I
got to wear a lot of nice stuff.
Yeah, you have an amazing wardrobe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was very lucky in that sense. I'm like, I could probably steal a few dresses.
I tried desperately to get
slowly accumulate.
Yeah, slowly accumulate. Exactly. I've slowly accumulated sweatpants, but not on purpose. Because you get to work and you're there all day, and then you take you're back into your clothes, and you're like, I don't want to put jeans on. It's been 14 hours. I can't. It doesn't go. So you just take sweatpants.
You accumulate sweatpants.
Absolutely. That's
Zero
valid.
judgment.
Yeah.
I tried desperately to get one of the dress I wore for Nia and Brainy's date last season. It was like this beautiful like blue brocade number. And it was like tailored specifically to me. So I'm like, no one, it's not gonna fit anyone else. They wouldn't give it to me, and I'm really upset. They were like, girl, you don't got a date to wear this on. I'm like, I mean, you're right, but I still want it.
Good.
You could find one.
No.
Better be prepared.
Maybe if I had the dress, I would have the confidence to go out and seek the date.
Exactly.
See? You made a good case, though. You made a good case.
Yeah. So next time it might be the 5-finger discount. We'll see.
Here's a question for Azie.
We've all tried to steal nuts to accumulate wardrobe, and they're pretty good. They've got it on lockdown now because I really liked. I had this cool pinstripe black dress that I wore a few seasons ago. That's on lockdown. I had like a really neat pair of high-heeled boots, and now I just ask to wear them. I'm like, can I wear them in the next episode? Because you won't give them to me, understandably. So,
I feel like we're gonna do like when we finally do the series finale. It's gonna be like storm the wardrobe closet. It's gonna be like a Twister blew through that place.
Oh, I'll be there for sure.
Oh yeah.
I like that you call it the lockdown. Like you all have tried this so much that now it's just in costume jail and they're not playing around anymore.
I feel like Emily and I have such different style. I've never ever tried to take any of her shoulder pad blazers or. It's very different from me. I love.
Yeah.
I love her style for her because it's so right for the character. But her and I are very different.
I love that. I see that for you.
Yeah. Good for Kelly. It's not something I've ever, yeah.
So we have a question for Ozzy. This comes from Creepy Ghoul on Twitter. When you get a script where you're given 2 roles, like that season 5 episode where you also played Malefic, how do you prepare for these scenes?
That was so much fun. I really like playing bad characters. I've done like a good number of horror movies and been the villain, and I find it really fun to kind of tap into that in that place. And so for Malefic, for me, it was really exciting to make physical choices. And our director of that episode, like I ran by what I wanted to do. It was David, who's an amazing director. Not David Hardwood, but David, I never say his last name right. Wick. You guys know what I'm talking about. He did 2 of our episodes this season, and he's amazing, and did the Flash crossover. But I kind of explained to him, like, I would like my Malefic to never blink, to kind of mimic behavior as opposed to actually feeling things. I just made character physical choices, didn't move in a smooth way, was kind of robotic. And then he was able to kind of help keep me to that as we filmed it, which was really cool. And then I think in filming the scenes with Kyler, if I creeped her out, it was working. So it was like, I think good and in that way. And the director came up with things too, like looking at the wine. There's a scene where I look at the wine bottle, and I know a lot of the fans had mentioned that, and that was very much David of if he's seeing things for the first time, and trying to seem natural, what are awkward things that he could do. So physical things like not blinking, moving very robotically, and then kind of being monotone and mimicking emotional behavior, but it not being connected to anything, which I think is a good contrast to Kelly, who's so connected to her heart and operates so much from her feelings and love, that I think that was a fun play, and it was fun going back and forth to that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was fascinating to see as well. And that kind of brings me to another question actually for Andrea. We talked about which Eve, the way that you kind of have these sharp, it's almost like a switch flips between Eve, nice Eve, or evil Eve, nice again. And it's completely just an utter change. How do you prepare for that or like get into that headspace?
Yeah, she's a character compromised of some pretty big heel turns. I don't know if I prepare. You kind of can't prepare for Eve. You kind of just have to operate off instinct with her because you truly don't know. She's all over the map. She's good, but she's bad, but she's good, but she's bad. But she's working with bad people, but she's working with good people, but then she made a bad choice. She's all over, but I think I know her soul a little bit, and I try to keep that consistent, and then I let everything else just happen to her. I'm just like, she's in a weird situation, and here we go. Let's make it fun. Let's make it fast. And that's just kind of my approach. I try not to think too much. I go, and it's been so much fun. It's a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch as well. I have a question for Nicole from Twitch, which comes from Tiger Lily 248. When will Nia and Brainy get back together?
Well, this is going to be a triggering subject for Nicole Mates.
So devastated over their breakup. I hope really soon. I think that's a really fun pairing. And I adore doing those scenes with Jesse because it's so much fun. And we have such a great time doing them. But I think that relationship has so much potential because we even in the moments when we've seen them kind of functioning well and we've seen them like kind of in their happy moments, it's still kind of always been, kind of under this cloud of miscommunication or impending world doom. So we've never really gotten to see them just be like, okay. And I feel like, he's the smartest man in the universe and she can see the future. So I feel like if they could just like get on the same page, they would be an unstoppable duo.
Totally.
And also now with uninhibited Brainy, now that he's kind of just like fully wholly himself, I feel like we have this new opportunity to kind of explore that dynamic and their relationship again and kind of find out what that looks like now. And so I hope they can get back together. And it's just, a question of, will he be able to trust that the super friends will trust him with what he's doing? And will Nia be able to forgive him? Because of course we all know that what Brainy's doing is, for the greater good. And we all know that he is justified in his actions. But to Nia, from her point of view, she told Brainiac that she loved him and that he could take off the inhibitors and she would love him no matter what. And then he came home and broke her heart out of nowhere and didn't tell her why. So, and then her roommate got attacked, and also her mom's dead, and also her sister hates her, and also crisis happened. And so she's just like batting 0 for 50.
Just everything. Yeah, literally everything all at once.
Nicole reads these scripts and she'll text our group chat, and it is like comforting a friend in real life through a breakup. She's so invested.
I just want Nia to be happy. I just want to see her thriving and doing well. And she's just not, man.
I remember the last script that was sent out, Nicole, we were in that same room together in the green room. I don't even know what we were shooting, but we both started scrolling through at the same time. And then listening to Nicole, she'd be like, oh. And then I'm just like, hang on, I'm not there.
I'm just like, I love the show so much, and I'm just like a fan of the show. So I just want to like see what happens.
Oh, I mean, I think I speak for all of us screaming in the chat right now. We are right there with you. That brings up a good question of how much do the writers share? Does it depend on the character, whether they're like, this might be a good time to share a little something, or is it really just you get the script and that's when you know?
I mean, I've never been on a show before personally that has shared so much. Our showrunners and writers call us and let us know what's happening before the season even starts. I mean, we all spoke to our showrunners a week ago about the new season, and we know what our character arcs are going to be. We know what's kind of happening with our characters. If there's anything that changes in real time, they get on the phone and call us directly. It's pretty incredible. And in real time, we have
I hit Kelly with a bus.
Pardon?
I hit Kelly with a bus.
Did you hit me with a bus? No.
But can you imagine? That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. I'd be very disappointed in Nia. She's Kelly's only. But it's incredible how much they tell us and include us and talk to us, and then the writers in real time text with all of us. I mean, it is you have a really good idea of what you're going through for the not just the coming episodes, but the season, and then also even the season after, like where they see your character going. At least that's been my experience. It's been really incredible.
That's very cool. And because, yeah, that's definitely not always the case.
Oh, right.
Is there anything you guys can, obviously you can't spoil, reveal any of that, but anything that fans could be excited for or keep an eye out for?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Going into the end of this season, of course, we can't really say anything about season 6 because everything's so
crazy.
Very crazy. But going into the end of this season, we've kind of seen all of these different story arcs kind of all over the place, and we've seen, whatever Eve's doing. She's down. Andrea's down here on my screen.
Oh, okay.
Being the Brady Bunch. It's been a thing.
So we've seen, we now know Eve is here. So it's whatever she's doing. We have had whatever, Andrea's doing with Andrea's doing with
very confusing having Andrea Brooks on the show and then having a character named Andrea. And poor Andrea Brooks gets her name butchered now all the time.
It's happened my whole life. I always say I'll answer to both. One's just like got a little flair to it.
Once you got a lot.
I don't hate it.
So we've seen, whatever is happening with Obsidian North and with Leviathan and now with Eve and then whatever Lex Luthor's doing. And so now it's kind of been all over the place. And going into the season finale, it all kind of it's like someone kind of like pulled a thread and it all just went. And so now you kind of see like, oh, this is how this all fits together. And I think people are going to really like it. I think it's really cool.
We're very excited for sure.
And also we have Melissa's directorial debut is the next episode, which we should all talk about because it was so fun.
And
director.
that was my first scene with Andrea, which was very exciting.
Yeah,
You'll never be in a scene with Andrea.
We had my very first episode, Andrea and I had a bit where she kind of in the hospital.
And then we had that
We
one
actually
where
have
there
a
was like a drive-by where we like didn't even speak.
Very fun,
But yeah, we have like an official scene coming up.
which is cool. Yeah.
Ooh, that's very exciting.
I know.
So Julie, I wanted to ask you about your combat skills. Like, because by all impressions, you were clearly part of the Secret Service before you went into acting. Like,
This is true. It's true in real life as well. No, they do a really great job editing.
slow motion, and then they speed it up.
Editing, and I have a couple of stunt doubles that are badass. No, I actually had no idea that I had to do any of that when I joined the show, and that was surprising. And yeah, challenging. I think I had to do a kick once. I was kicking a gun out of Kyler's hand, and I was so scared to actually like kick her, or because you need to. And I practiced so much the kick with the stunt coordinator, and I was practicing. By the time I had to go and shoot it, my hip hurt so much.
Yeah, and then her leg fell off.
Then kick it. So clearly there are no skills. But they do a really, really great job in teaching you and prepping you before the scene. And then again, stunt doubles, thank God for them, and they don't get enough recognition, but they do amazing. They did a great job. And then I just pop in to do the face stuff, and I was like, yeah, that was me. That was great.
I know. I always say like, thank you for making me look cool.
Yeah,
It does.
I want an episode where it's just, or maybe just like a behind the scenes. You could be like a special feature on a DVD, or it's just a take of the actors
It's
trying
gone down so quick.
something else to be doing.
No.
You could do a side by side of your stunt double doing it, and then you doing it as well.
Yeah.
People love that.
Anything that the stunt doubles do is just like
It's
Unsung heroes for sure.
Yeah.
a lot of creaking.
Our company is also the most amazing because they do, which I've talked to friends in other shows and they don't get this. They actually shoot the whole scene with the dialogue and the stunts themselves, record it, and then send it to us so we can watch it, which is
they're pretty incredible.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we get this whole little like cinematic preview of what the fight's gonna look like.
Yeah.
What?
And then they're like, oh, see, you're doing this and you're doing that. You're like, oh, sure.
Yeah. You're like, sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's so cool. That's seriously very cool. I love hearing all, I guess even on the back end of the production, like how invested people are and how connected it seems like this whole production is, which is really, you don't always hear that. And that's really, really neat for something like this. I think it shows through in the show as well, for sure. So I had an interesting question, and it's about taking naps. This comes from Red Daughter on Twitter. Where is the best place to sleep on set?
In your trailer.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's your hit. That's your nap spot.
Although Nicole tends to be in my trailer before I get in there. So I don't know.
It's like hanging out.
Maybe
trailer
maybe
for sure.
Andrea's trailer with her little bean baby. Maybe that's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely haven't done any napping with a baby. I have a 4-month-old now, so there have been no naps.
It's a nap-free zone.
Nap free zone. But if there is a chance, like definitely we're all lucky and we have beautiful trailers at work and there's, a nice little spot for us all. So I don't know if I've ever napped anywhere specific. I wish I could be cool and be like, yeah, I like napped on Cat Grant's desk, but I did not.
Or just underneath. That's your secret.
Yeah, hiding.
So we have a question from Laura VPC in our Twitch chat right now. Question for the whole cast. If you were a superhero, what would be your superhero name? Like you as a person. So what is like your power, the thing that you feel like is you're most known for as a human in life?
Oh God.
Oh, that's so
Are you really good at cooking?
Question.
Are you somebody
Oh.
who's always cracking jokes? Maybe you're like,
I'd be meme supreme.
Yeah,
would
that's
be-
absolutely.
That's really good.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely.
really good.
I'd have a
100,
cake. It'd be great.
that's really good.
100%.
We're not
Yeah,
gonna do
that's-
better than that. That was
Yeah, that's I agree. That was like the one that
Winner.
topped them all. It
I
rhymed,
have
it was everything.
I have no idea what I would be. Like just permanently confused, probably.
So we have a question from Sarah Voorhees on Twitter. If given the chance to do a body swap kind of episode, which character would you most want to be and why?
What episode?
Like
Any
a body swap.
Oh, I see. Body swap.
Mhm.
Mm.
Is there somebody that you're like, yes,
Body swap-
yes.
pick me. I would totally body swap with Lex Luthor.
oh, so good.
That would so cool.
That's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, he has a really fun character. I
fun.
got to get to know him a little better, and just like seeing him work, I was like, holy shit, this is a really good. He's fantastic.
Oh gosh.
Also the best person in the whole world.
Hours.
We adore him so much.
Yeah.
We could talk about John Cryer for like an hour.
Yeah.
John Cryer
I love him.
appreciation community.
We, it's
over
kind
here.
of what we do.
I know.
He's
Yeah, we
amazing.
just hang around and John sends us true crime podcasts.
I know.
Nice.
He fit right into this group. Let me tell you. He showed
Yeah.
up and we were like, "Where have you been, brother?"
Yeah, and we had that girls' dinner with him, and we kept thinking like he's not gonna want to come, and he just like kind of came and was so
He was
funny.
like, "Yeah, I'm coming to dinner." We were like, "You want to hang out with us?"
We're giving you it out. And he
You're
was
being
like,
one of the girls, and it was amazing.
I know.
he's a sweetheart,
Oh,
so talented.
I have another question from Scarston Wonderland in the Twitch chat. Do you think Kelly will be able to help Kara and Lena?
You know, I
You're
think
able.
that, I mean, everybody has a problem on this show. It's really unbelievable. I hope so. I mean, I think Kelly has been trying to like pull everybody together. Everybody on the show is a hot ass mess, you know? I'm surprised it took this long for a therapist to come on board. But yeah, I mean, my favorite part of playing Kelly is that she gets along with all the characters and doesn't have any conflict. And yeah, I hope so. I just want everyone to get along. It's hard. I think, you know, on Nicole's point about Brainy and Nia, like none of the characters that interact with each other have peace for very long. You know, it's kind of the state of the show, and the minute that you feel like something's good, some crazy villain comes to town and things get turned upside down. There's no time to kind of catch your breath.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I think Kelly would be great to help everything.
You need like an official like
That was really
romance
donkey.
animated like beach episode for everyone to just get along and be okay.
Yeah, I wanted.
Yes.
I mean, Nicole and I have talked about, because she's like shown me things on the internet. That's how I see things on the internet, is through Nicole. That's how we all see things. But like, you know, a group therapy scene would be really funny.
Yeah.
That's actually, someone asked that question. Amanda818 said, what would an episode where all the characters go to therapy be like?
I think it'd be really funny. And Nicole, I'm going to hand this over to Nicole, because Nicole has like thought about this very
we
much,
talked
has
about
done
this.
research online.
It would be
And-
like that episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they all went to group therapy.
Oh,
And they
that's
just
funny.
went down the line and everyone was like, no, this is how this happened. And it was like a completely different scenario and nothing was functional. Nothing was really resolved. But it was entertaining.
It could be very cathartic as well,
There's a
for
lot of
sure.
trauma. There's a lot of trauma in this group of
There's
characters.
a lot of trauma in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Maybe they all just sit, eat, ice cream and just cry.
Oh no.
I know. I feel like with Kelly, like whenever I've had scenes with any new characters, like Katie or I just always touch them because I'm like, God bless you. Lena's been through so much, like, and I think even with my scene with Andrea a couple of weeks ago or whenever it was before we went to lockdown, I think I was like touching you because I'm like, he's been through a lot.
Look at your shoes. Like, it was like we like just met. Wow.
Except for the great scene. Sorry, I was eating cookie dough.
So relatable.
Fair.
Except for that scene that you and I had together where I was the therapist.
I know, but that was so real. I'm like, how many times have we cried, has Nicole and Azie cried to each other? We were like, this is just a Tuesday. We just
I think the writers must have caught wind of our just regular, like, we'll be in each other's trailers just like sobbing to each other. I'm like, let's just throw this in.
And they're like,
They're doing this anyway. We may as well, make it
Capitalize.
checking their notes.
None of those scenes are scripted. It's just us crying, and they just started rolling the camera.
We filmed it in an actual bathroom. It wasn't a set. It was an actual bathroom on our stage. So
It was the men's room, and I walked in and I said, I did not fight a 5-year lawsuit. I've been with my father for 6 years. But y'all
triggered
in the men's room and have me cry to this therapist woman.
Yeah.
Sylvia.
Oh, Nicole, it's so great.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
You did. You walked in and you were like, are we going to address this? No. Okay.
I loved it.
That's badass.
Yeah.
I really wish they'd had like a urinal in the scene and just never addressed it.
Oh my God.
Was that they had all the camera guys and the crew, everybody was in stalls and they had the stall door open. It was great.
Yeah, I've shot in bathrooms on this show as well, and yeah, everyone like a director in one stall, like everyone. Then once the scene's done, everyone pops out. And they're like, "Okay, I have thoughts, I have opinions, and we're gonna."
And then everyone trying to shuffle past each other down that narrow hallway.
yeah.
That's like such a logistical thing that anybody watching probably is never going to think about, which is kind of hilarious to hear about.
Oh yeah, if you ever see a bathroom scene in a movie, guaranteed the stalls are full of important people, and they're all sitting on top of it with their feet up like this.
100%. Actually, it kind of made me want to ask if you guys do get to have any sort of say in the scripts, or if it's very like script perfect and locked in place, or if you kind of get to work with the writers at all.
I actually got to put my 2 cents in having my character Andrea speak more Spanish.
Nice.
Because it just makes more sense to have her speak Spanish. I mean, personally, my first language is Spanish, so I try to incorporate that in a lot of in as many ways I can, because I don't play Hispanic characters a lot of the time. Shocker. But this is the first time I'm actually Hispanic, which is great. So I think I've spoken many times with the writers and Robert and Jessica, and I've known Robert actually for a very long time, and I'm always like, come on, have me speak Spanish. So there's a little bit of that I want to try to keep going at it, because I think it's fun, and why not? Why, if you're gonna have a Latino character, then have her be Spanish.
And
So,
they
I mean,
made her, and she's from Argentina as well, right?
yeah, and she, in the comics, she's not from Argentina. She's actually Central America, and they made her on Supergirl from Argentina because of me. So that was, I think I cried when I got that script, where she's like, she's in Argentina, and I'm like, oh God, this is amazing! What a dream! Like to even play Hispanic, which has been a uphill battle for me, and then to have them make her from my home country, that was quite an honor.
That like gave me full body chills. That's awesome.
Really good experience with working with the writers, especially in this previous episode, in 15 Reality Bites. I knew that they wanted to do that episode, kind of like what Ozzy said when they called me at the beginning of season 5, and they said, this is kind of what we want to do with Nia. They said they wanted to do an episode about transphobia with Nia's roommate. And when they told me they wanted to do it, I sat down with the writers and the showrunners, and we just talked on the phone for like an hour, and we just poured over everything we wanted to kind of talk about in this episode, all the points we wanted to make. They were really, really great about just kind of being open to ideas and being responsive, and because you know, they recognize that, you know, I'm a resource for them, and so we just talked about it, and we said, you know, going into this episode, what points do we absolutely want to set in stone, because of course so much ends up on the cutting room floor. They were really, really great about just, you know, having such amazing integrity, and they said, what points, you know, regardless of what gets cut, what has to make it into this episode? And so we kind of settled on using actual trans mortality statistics at the time of filming. So at the time of filming, 24 trans women had been murdered as a result of hate-related violence in the United States. And so that was accurate to the time of filming, just talking about sort of how trans violence gets swept under the rug by law enforcement a lot of the time. And then, you know, bringing in this idea of gay panic, bringing in this idea of, you know, well, not the idea, the reality of trans women of color facing a much higher rates of violence. Was all stuff we kind of talked about. We talked about, you know, this villain, this Gregory Bowers, who do we want him to be? We've thrown around the idea of him being an agent of liberty from last season, kind of a straggler. And, you know, we just kind of settled on, you know, this dude doesn't need a backstory. It doesn't really matter, you know, who he is and where he comes from, because at the end of the day, he's hurting people because of who they are. And so the writers were really great. And it was the same thing with last season. The episode with Nia's mother and with her sister. They've been really great just about anything kind of relating to Nia's transness. Just being really cooperative and really open-minded, and yeah, so it's been amazing.
Mm-hmm. And that's really reassuring. Even, I think we're getting a loop. But it's really reassuring as a viewer, because you can be a fan of the show and you're a fan of the cast, and then you hear stuff like this, which really sets in stone that you can be a fan of the people behind the scenes as well, that are putting in this care and this, you know, use of resource and use of information and doing something with it. That's awesome.
You know, I just about cried when Robert and Jessica came to me and told me they wanted to do that episode. I was like, I want to do it so bad. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think what was so cool about that, just like being your friend and watching you go through that, was that they didn't write the episode and then come to Nicole and say, like, what are your thoughts? Like, she was very much a part of it from the very beginning before anything was written. And that's really cool, because I think a lot of times writers or showrunners could be like, do you have any notes, as opposed to let's create this together. And Nicole is a big part of creating that. And it was so cool. It was cool to witness, just like as
well, I mean, honestly, there wasn't a whole lot for me to do. We kind of had that initial phone call and we talked, and then they wrote the episode and they came to me and they said, do you have any notes? And I was like, y'all knocked it out of the park. The vast majority of what made it on screen was just what they'd written. And I was like, there really isn't any notes I have to give, because they just wrote, I mean, you all saw it. They just did it so beautifully, and it was amazing. And it was just kind of minor tweaks.
Mm-hmm. I hate that we are almost out of time, but unfortunately we are. But that is an incredibly strong and awesome note for us to end on. Thank you so much for your time and your energy and bringing us some laughs and bringing us some feels today. Thank you again, Azie, Julie, Andrea, Nicole. You all are incredible, killing it. I know everyone in the chat is just like going insane right now, showing you all love.
Aww.
So thank you so much for joining us. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for this panel. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.